Welcome! Today we're going to draw a realistic eye. We're going to start off by drawing a very faint circle with a line through it. Now this is just a guide. Your circle does not have to be perfect and the line does not have to be perfectly straight. In fact, we're going to be erasing these in just a little bit. This is only going to serve as a guide for the angle of your eye. I know it looks like I'm drawing a little nose here. This is actually the inside portion of your eye. That's your tear duct. We're going to go from point to point on the line. So you want to bring your top eyelid up and curve it back down to the last point of the circle and line where they meet. The bottom of the eye is more shallow, so you don't go down as deep. It almost gives it kind of a lemon shape. Right here, we're going to do the eye crease, and you just want to follow your top eyelid all the way around. Now that we have our basic shape, let's get rid of this outer circle and the line going through the middle. Next, we're going to draw the iris. Now, I want to put little markers down here on how big I want my iris to be. Once you have those markers in there, then just bring the lines down and up from the markers, and you'll have a pretty good circle. Okay, so the iris is falling just outside of the eye line, so I'm going to erase that. And then to get our pupil centered, I'm going to draw a dot in the exact center of the iris, and then I'm going to draw a circle around that dot for the pupil. Okay, now I'm going to draw these two lines down. These two lines are going to serve as a reflection line. So I'm going to fill in the entire pupil except for inside of those two lines. Next, I'm going to make a reflection from our light source. When you make a reflection, you can make it any shape you want. You can do a triangle, you can do a rectangle, but you want to make sure it's curved because the eye is not flat. So you want to add a little curve to it when you draw the reflection onto your eye. Now the reflection is going to remain bright white, so nothing is going to go inside of this reflection. You want to make sure the outside of your iris is dark. And what I'm doing right now is I'm getting a blending stick and I'm blurring the lines of the outside of my iris. And then I'm taking my blending stick and I'm just filling in with what's graphite is on the blending stick from the outside, and I'm just pulling it in a very light shade of gray. When you're drawing a realistic eye like this, the key word is layers. You want to layer your shading throughout the entire process. So right now what we're doing is our first layer, we're taking the dark line of the outside of the iris and we're pulling it in. Make sure to not color in your reflection square up there. and then come in with the pencil and bring more layers in. Now what I'm doing right here is I am making a very uneven circle around the iris, and this is where the color is going to come in if you want to put color in. But if you don't want to put color in, that's fine too. That's where the line detail is going to go. Now within that little squiggly circle you just drew, we are going to pull lines from the center of the iris to the end of that circle. So you want to make sure it's even. You want to start from the center and go up. Start from the center and go out. That way all the lines are even within this little circle that you're doing. Go back in again to make your lines more apparent and a little closer together for a realistic look. Right now you want to go over your squiggly line again, and at the points of it you want to just fill it in. Make it dark and then make that line of your squiggly going around the pupil, make that very apparent so it can be seen. Now pretty soon we're going to erase a line of white just outside that line, so you want to make sure that line is nice and dark. Now I'm going to come in with this very fine tipped eraser, and I'm going to follow the outside of the line all the way around. I went ahead and filled in the tear duct, and we'll add more detail to that in just a bit. Right now what we're going to do is we're going to do shading on the rest of the eye, everything that's white except for that reflection spot. But go ahead and shave in a curvature motion on the left side of the iris and the right side of the iris. Just a very fine, light layer of graphite. And now for some more dramatic shading, I'm going to come back in with my blending stick, and I'm going to pull the graphite down from what I just applied. Plus I still have some left over on my stick from the iris, so that's going to add a more dramatic effect to it. Since our light source is coming from above, we do need to add some shadow right under that top eyelid. So go ahead and take your pencil and just add another fine line right under the eyelid, and then we'll go in with our blending pencil and pull that shadow down. What I'm doing is we're going to start adding shading to the inner eye here, but let me see if I can get this a little bit closer so you can see more detail. There we go. Now, let's go ahead and add just a faint line right above your eyelid. We are going to shade it in. This line's going to be important. It's going to be a guide. So go ahead and shade in everything between those two lines. And then of course, we are going to come in afterwards with our blending stick and blend all that in. Again, if we pay attention to our light source, we know that it's coming from above, so we are going to have to make the inside of the eye a little bit darker. Now this whole crease has to be very dramatic, and so this crease needs to be very dark. I know it's kind of hard to see right now. I will adjust the camera in just a little bit, but what I'm doing is I'm adding shading underneath the bottom eyelid right now. And of course, after I add my shading lines, I always come back in with my blending stick. Now, if you don't have a blending stick, you can just use toilet paper. Just bunch a little bit around your finger and use that as your blending stick. It works just as good. Okay, let's add some darker lines to the tear duct here, and then we will also darken this line going all the way underneath the eye to make it more apparent. Most eyes have creases right underneath that bottom eyelid, so I'm just going to draw a couple lines right underneath, and then of course come in with my blending stick and blend them in. To show you how the toilet paper worked, I just got a small piece and folded it up, and that's what I'm using as my blending stick right here, and as you can see, it does work just as good. Again, we're going to define our lines, and I'm also going to come in with some more shading on this top eyelid and bring that shading all the way to the side. You're also going to need to bring some shading down on the eyeball itself right here, and then again we'll come in with our blending stick. And now for the funnest part of drawing an eye, the eyelashes. You want the root of your lash to flip up from the bottom of your eyelid. So you're almost making little J's on there. You want to start off with one on the edge, one in the middle, and then one on the other edge, and then you want to fill in from there. As you start to fill in the rest of your eyelashes, make sure that you do them in random strokes because not all eyelashes are the same. They cross over each other, some are underneath, some are on top, and so you want those imperfections to show. Just a quick tip when you're doing eyelashes, it really helps to have as fine of lead as you can get. I should be using a 0.5 millimeter. I'm still using my number 4B, so I'm going to switch that out in a little bit because this lead's a little bit too thick for it, but it does help to have a thinner lead. Now don't forget, your eyelashes can be as thick and full as you want them or as thin and minimal as you want them. This is your eye, this is your design, so make your eyelashes the way you want them. What I'm doing right now is I'm adding little dots or little shadows right at the base of some of the eyelashes. Now this is a very important step because if you look at your eyelashes, you will see that there's these little dots down there, and so this is a very important effect on the eye. I'm going to come back in here again with the blending stick on this top eyelid just to give a more dramatic effect. So I ended up getting a finer pencil and a darker lead, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to redefine the outside of this squiggly circle in my iris just for, again, a more dramatic effect. As I mentioned earlier, that crease right above that top line of your eyelid needs to be dark. And so looking at it, it's not dark enough. So we're going to go back in and we are going to darken it up. Okay, now right here I'm coming in with my fine eraser and I'm going to erase a very white line going on the edge of the bottom of my eyelid in some certain spots to add the wet highlights of the underneath eye. Now you can either use your eraser or you can use a white gel pen if you have, but we're going to come through this and then we're also going to go into the tear duct as well to add some highlights there. Okay, so pretty much the entire video I've been telling you not to touch the highlighted portion of your iris. Well, now is your time. So what we're going to do is we're just bringing lines down as a lash reflection because again our light source is coming from above. So bring a couple lines down just for that reflection. And right here we're going to grab our blending stick again and we're just going to use the graphite that's already existing on it and we're going to pull up shading going all the way up to where you would imagine the eyebrow to be. Okay, I am coming back in with my super fine eraser and I'm going to redo this line, the squiggly line right outside the iris there, make that more apparent. And then I'm going to do the bottom portion of the eye as well. And we are going to prepare the eye for the next step. Okay, I promised you a next step and here it is. Eye veins. So every eye has them. You just need to draw very squiggly, very faint lines. There's no rhyme or reason to them. They don't have to be straight. They can be up and down. They can be little circles. They can be however you want them to be. Okay, I'm coming in again with this eraser that I love so much, and I'm doing some more definition. So we are coming in, we are going to make the white line more apparent, and then we'll make the shadowing more apparent on the other side of that. And I'm going to put little specks throughout it just to catch the light, almost making it look like a sunflower in the middle of your eye. And there you have it, a realistic eye. We're a new channel, so if you could like and subscribe, we would so much appreciate it. Thanks for watching.